Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So these two figures right here are two of my favourite law enforcement characters out there, and I've got all the Judge Dredd films in my collection, and I've got all the RoboCop films in my collection, but not the TV series, which for me was a little bit lightweight. Right then, let's come in close. First to Judge Dredd. This figure must be close to 30 years old, but this is the exact image I can remember reading in the comic 2000 AD back in the 70s, and when this image finally came onto the toy market, I had to get him. My biggest regret is not going after the Lawmaster, which is the bike he rides on, and some of the key figures that were in the comic book stories, which was Judge Hershey, Judge Giant, and the four Judges of the Apocalypse. But I've seen reissues, and I really am tempted to go after them. But that is the comic book gun he has, and if you come in close, you see at the top there, sort of, you can set the dial on whatever kill mode he wants it in. Then he did come with that kind of truncheon thing in the comic. Let's get round to the badge, like that badge. And down at the bottom there, I'll just see if we can swing the camera around. That's it, there's a knife there that I've posed him with in the past. And if I come on to the other side of the boot, that little pocket hanging off the side of the boot, that's where he holsters his weapon, the gun he's holding. In there right now is a small cube device with a bit of writing on it, and it's kind of like a truth detector. So when he's cornered a subject or suspect, he'll put that device on them to see if they're telling the truth or not. So that's Judge Dredd. And I do like the films as a whole, but the last one was closer to how he is. But I also think RoboCop really is the perfect personality for what Judge Dredd would be like if it was done well. And he's a cold individual, which is what Dredd is like, with aspects of humanity, which is his old life that he's remembering. And Judge Dredd's got that kind of quality. Lives by the law, but from time to time, he can show mercy. But I hope they remake the Judge Dredd movie. And I'd like the city to look a bit like the city in Luc Besson's film, The Fifth Element, with Bruce Willis, because that was the look of Mega City 1, in which Judge Dredd lives. But that's enough about Dredd. I'm going to really focus on him now, because this NECA RoboCop is a good one. And if I go below the platform, you'll see the box that figure came in. So what you'll see today is a head change, but I've already made one change. I've changed the trigger hand out for that spiked gauntlet, which you see in the first film. I think you see it in the second film, but yeah, that's when you see it for the first time. And I've also released the side holster of the leg, so you can see where the gun is kept. It's not in there now because it's a bit fiddly to get out, but I'm going to pose him with that gun. So there you go. There's Judge Dredd and RoboCop. So I'm going to change out the head for RoboCop. So I've taken off Dredd from the platform because I want to focus now on the figure RoboCop unmasked. Now, I've never ever had this head sculpt on the figure before. I always like the iconic look of RoboCop, but I have to say it looks very good at this level. And opened up that a bit more so you can see where the gun is holstered. But overall I do like that look, and in fact when I was over in Birmingham last, just before Christmas, I saw a RoboCop for about £51, and I could quite easily get another one and have him in this pose and the pose you're used to seeing him in. So yeah, what I've done, because when he looked like this towards the end of the film, he had that big powerful rifle, I've strapped that over him. So you'll see him being posed with that. In fact, I'll do that next. So there he is with that super powerful rifle, and I've had to take out the gauntlet arm with the spike on it and put back his trigger arm so we can grip that weapon. But the weapon itself is very similar to how it looked in the film. And one of the reasons I do want to replace, well, not replace this figure, but get another one, is because if you come in close on the rifle, see that bit hanging down on the barrel there, that's where the sort of, well, there was like supports for the weapon, so if you put the weapon on the ground it would support it, but they kind of came off in the fiddly diddly times when I was posing this figure. But it's not a major issue, it happens. So that's him. I'll get him in from this side. So I am liking this head sculpt, but I was so into the look of having him with his helmet on, I kind of didn't give it its respect. But there he is. So we're going to get his helmet on now and show you that. So there's RoboCop as we like to see him, and he's held that rifle aloft, and apart from the strap being uncooperative, it's not a bad pose. So what I'll do now is I'm going to put him with his hand pistol and leave it there. So there he is in full weapons mode, helmet on. He's got that powerful pistol that made him quite ironic. Actually, in many ways it's kind of like a Judge Dredd weapon where he can set it to different firing modes. And I put the rifle over the shoulder because he's going into war and he's going to need all the firepower he can get. Now I'm going to try and put this thing on because I've had a go at it and it's a pain in the butt. It's kind of weighty and it pulls on the weapon. It's a blast effect if you don't know what that is, but we'll do it once and then I'll take it off because I want to repose him to end the review. Was it worth it? I can't tell you. I mean, it just looks kind of wrong. For me it does. If it was jazzed up a bit, that energy effect, a bit of red or blue or something, it might work like they do for the Predator ones. Well, that was a pain because it has a very narrow plug bit where you can fit it onto that weapon, but it doesn't even look even, just looks like something is hanging off the gun. I'll try another one with it and see what that looks like, but I'm not going to pose it this way because it was in the box when I opened it and I kind of knew what it was, but I thought it looked better than this. But let's see if I can have another go. Well, I will say this is a better one. I've got him squared on and I've tried to even out that blast effect so it doesn't look like it's hanging off the gun. It seemed to have worked from that angle, but we'll come around just to see. It's not too bad on camera now. I'm still not going to pose it. See, if you go to there, sort of drooping a bit, but from that angle it's not too bad. So yeah, let's come around the side and you'll see that powerful rifle strapped over his shoulder. And this figure actually is well made from behind as well. I've got some nice detail on there. Nick, I've always made an effort with this figure, and I've seen versions of him when he's sitting in his chair where he charges up his energy, and another weapon he comes with, and he's got a jetpack of course. But I'd like to get this same figure again so I can pose him out with the head sculpt and the gauntlet with the spike on it. So on that note, I'm going to wind it down with one last pose and take that energy effect off, because I had a go, but I'm not bothering with it again. So this is the final pose, and I will be putting back in my display this way. I've got that gun raised up high, like that angle there. That profile is nice. And I've tried to extend that arm out, but that's a nice angle there. So yeah, so the RoboCop for me is one of my favourite law enforcement characters beside Judge Dredd. And at some point, if I'm lucky enough to pick up a second RoboCop, I'll do another review with him with the head sculpt on the figure. So you'll have one version that looks like this, and beside him you'll have the other version with the head sculpt. So that's my review of RoboCop, and I'll say thanks for joining the channel, or if you joined or subscribed, thank you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.